So the way I try to explain this is, if you can picture an app on your phone, we could call it the Future Self app. And so just imagine that it's monitoring everything you're saying, everything you're doing. So just imagine it's Facebook or the government.
Yeah, exactly. What's actually happening?
Hypothetically.
Imagine you live in reality and this is actually happening. Yeah.
So imagine there's this app that exists.
Imagine there's these overlords, these tech giants, and government, tyrannical rulers who are spying on everything you do. Imagine that.
It's sad, but it's true, man.
It is so true.
So if you could imagine that there is a Future Self app that's monitoring everything you say and everything you're thinking about and like what you're doing, and it's analyzing your movements in the present and predicting what you're going to do in the future, that's what I would call your future-oriented self or your future self. So it's the division of the subconscious that's always focused on the future and what might happen. So if you think about what depression is, what is depression?
Ultimately, I'd say unhappiness, if I were just to generalize it, in the most broad of terms.
Yeah, it's a feeling that your body's sending you. And so I think this will probably track with you. And, I do a much more careful way of getting to this conclusion in the YouTube video, The Universal Reason Why People Get Depressed. But at the end of it, if you really take the idea of the future self seriously, what that predicts is that your brain is very good at analyzing movements and projecting those into the future. So why wouldn't it be able to figure out what you're up to in the present and then figure out what you're going to do and then say, I don't like that direction, and tell you through a feeling that you're on the wrong path? That's depression. It is your body's way of sending you a message. You are going in the wrong way. You're basically, if you're walking in the wrong way, you're walking towards death when you should be walking towards evolution and life. And because you haven't prioritized and structured your life in a way that is playing a long game, you're playing a short game of maybe it's survival, maybe you're eating too much, maybe you're not getting enough sunlight, maybe you're just so shrunk that you're just not living your best self. Well, that your brain is capable of analyzing what you're doing and then projecting that in the future, which is like, this only is spiraling downwards. I'm not going to participate by giving you any feel-good neurotransmitters anymore. So this is what's called the silent treatment. I'm going to pull back the echo of experience from you. You're no longer going to have any feel-good chemicals until you figure out that you're going in the wrong direction. And once you do, then depression will go away.
Damn. I like that. I like that take.
And it tracks with your experience of working out and that sort of thing. I mean, like anybody's experience of working out. If you do the things that your body wants you to do, I mean, these are evolutionary evolved things that your body wants. It wants you to be, it wants homeostasis. It wants you to be warm. It wants you to go outside and get sunlight. It wants you to get proper sleep. It wants proper nutrition. It wants you to not feed it shit. And I've eaten so much horrible food in my life. That's why I say that like that. But I mean, your body doesn't want you to lie. It doesn't want you. It wants you to like be around other people. And, we regulate each other's nervous systems. It wants all these things. And so when you give it what it wants, when you go skydiving, when you go traveling, when you go work out, when you go do something and have a novel experience, you get rewards. There's built-in rewards. And when you do things that you shouldn't do, there's punishments. And people don't like to hear that's what depression is, because they don't want to agree that, they could be responsible for this thing. They want to say, oh, it's just a chemical imbalance. Yeah, well, maybe it's a chemical imbalance, but where's that imbalance coming from? Maybe it's from your actions. Maybe it's from your thoughts, and maybe it's from rumination. So depression is underpinned. Dr. Neil Seth has this, he describes depression in 3 words. Depression is repetitive, ruminative thinking. And what is rumination? Rumination is replaying something in your mind over and over, over and over. And depression is underpinned by hyperactive default network. Again, we get back to this ego. And so when you get this thing out of the way, that's when the downloads happen, which is you need to go work out. You need more sunlight. Your job is a dead end job, and it's not helping you, and it's not helping the world. And you are lying to yourself. It's an enacted lie. It's an embodied lie that you are a vegan and you're working at a steakhouse. That's my story. I was a vegan working at a steakhouse, and my body said, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You're a living lie.
this relationship is toxic and you're staying in it, like same type of thing. Like our body knows, like it knows when things aren't good for us, and yet we've convinced ourselves of the cheating spouse or the verbally abusive person or whatever, like, and your body's like, get the fuck away from them, and you're like, no, but I need, it's this lack of it's the same convincing of something that you're telling yourself, or your mind, your subconscious knows, the fiber of your being, this is not good for you, and what you're doing, what you're taking in is toxic, is damaging. And so why would I reward you for this when you know it's not good, and you've made up a lie about why you need to keep doing it? Like, so until you fucking wake up from that, like, enjoy the depression. Enjoy the depression.
Enjoy the silent treatment. It helps people understand, like, there's many different sides of you, and you're not just one thing. You're not just your narrative self. You're not just your thoughts. And when you start to treat yourself as this multiplicity, there's more happiness, because, like meditation and yoga, these things are all about union and unionizing the self and getting yourself into one spot in one time and marrying yourself to this present moment. But when you let the ego come in and pull you out with mental, like, thoughts and worrying about tomorrow and, ruminating about the past, then that's where this depression and anxiety comes from, is because you've lost your loyalty to the present moment. All right, this would be the thing that really kicked me off in this whole future self thing. So, in the whole idea behind depression, there is this study called the Iowa Gambling Task. It's a pretty simple thing to explain, but basically there's a subject and there's an experimenter, and the experimenter sets out 4 decks of cards. This is generally actually played on a computer, but whatever. So they set out 4 decks of cards, and all they tell the subject is, choose from one of these 4 decks, and you just want to try to win as much money as possible. So the people start choosing these decks at random. They choose a card, and then they notice the wallet, money there's money in there. And then, they choose from this deck, money goes away. They choose from this deck, but it's completely like they have no idea which decks are good, or which like, are suits good, are sevens bad, or jokers good. They have no idea of any of this stuff. All they're just told is to pick cards and win as much money as possible. At certain intervals, the experimenter will stop and be like, now, if you could choose from any one of these decks, A, B, C, D, which would you choose? And so people, sometimes they'll give an answer, sometimes like, I don't know. But the important point is they've also been hooked up to a galvanic skin response, which measures sweat glands, it's kind of like a lie detector test. And so they're able to track how your body is reacting when you choose from certain decks. And so what happens is it usually takes about 20 to 30 pulls from any of the decks, so 20 or 30 tries, for people to consciously work out, deck A is the best deck to choose from, or deck B is the bad deck. Don't ever choose from that one. Now, here's the thing. Within 10 tries, the body starts sweating when you go for the wrong deck. When you start choosing the wrong deck, it starts sending you a message. This is the wrong deck. Don't choose this deck. I'm sweating so you'll know that this is not a good deck to choose from. So what that means is, around 10 cards in, the subconscious, aka the bodily self, or whatever you want to call it, has figured out which deck is the good deck. And then it takes the conscious self 10 or 20 more cards to figure out which deck is the right deck. And we think, as conscious agents, I'm just so smart and so intelligent and and calling all the shots and all that stuff. No. Your physiology always plays a part in your decision making, even when you think it's all top-down logic. Even when you think, I came up with it, it's obviously deck A. You didn't. Your body told you, and it knew way before you did. And it's just one of those studies that, paints another picture of the subconscious is smarter than you are. It has way more access to information than you are. And the body is very, very intelligent. And if we are going to continuously ignore what the body wants and what the subconscious is saying, then we are going to end up depressed and anxious, because we're going against our own instincts.
Hey everyone, thank you for clicking on the video. If you enjoy, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and share with everyone. And if you have time after, please make sure you go to nateknighttalks.com and check out the NNT community and research database. Thank you.